Tough Tuesday is one of our toughest and most mental and physical practices of the week. Coaches are mainly looking for guys to be physically and mentally tough throughout the process. Prior to our static stretch, guys will actually perform early work. Early work consists of guys warming up with football oriented drills. This will properly get guys warmed up for what you see here now, our static stretch. Static stretch, as you see, we'll go with legs wide apart down the middle was our first stretch, stretching the low back and hamstrings. Then we'll also work our way over to both hands on your right ankle. We will actually go into actually stretching also the left side, stretching all parts and all angles of the hamstring, making sure we're properly warmed up. After the standing stretch, we will go into, as you see here, a rock and roll motion, pulling knees to your chest and rolling back and forth, loosening up your low back. Low back is the key to making sure they're properly warmed up in their inner core. Well, after that, we will go with right leg out, which we call a modified hurdle stretch. Modified hurdle stretch with both hands on your right toe, stretching out. After that, we will also go into the left side, which we will go on the clap to make sure all players are definitely in sync. And we'll have both hands on each foot, stretching out our hamstring and low back. After the modified hurdle stretch, we will also go into a trunk twist. Trunk twist, as you see here, is where the left leg will be out, their right leg across, trying to look behind them as far as they can, making sure we loosen up the outer hip and also your low back. Next, we will also go into the opposite side, stretching out our opposite side, making sure we're real flexible on both sides. Here, as you see in the video, you have coaches walking around talking to their players, making sure that their minds are focused on the task at hand. After that, we will go into a butt stretch, which is right leg up, arm forward over your knee, over your shin angles, making sure you're actually stretching out your lower back and inner hip, front hip. We'll actually switch it over and do also right and left as you see here on the stretch. Guys, mainly just making sure we're well flexible and stretched out. Flexibility is key to success and key to injury prevention. This is what we're doing the static stretch for, is making sure we definitely are loose and stretched out so we don't have any injuries. Here we will go into feet together, which we call a groin stretch, like a butterfly groin stretch, some may call it. Making sure we're nice and loose. But we also want to be quick on the whistle. So I would say on the whistle, let's be quick. I will blow the whistle. They will hop up as quick as they can. And now we're probably ready to do our stretches from a standing point. As we up, we will go into a Saigon squat. Saigon squat with their chest up, heels flat on the ground, pushing on the inside of their knees, making sure they're stretching their groin out. After that, we will go into an actual hip flexor stretch, which we got the right knee down, stretching out your hip flexor, chest up tall, sinking your hips through, making sure we're getting them hip flexors stretched out. We'll go right and left, and then we'll alternate and go from right and left, stretching out their hip flexors. After the hip flexor stretch, we'll work our way up on our feet, and work our way up to right quad. We want to make sure we're stretching all angles of our bodies just to make sure we're properly warmed up for a tough, great practice at the University of Miami. After we go right, we also going to go into our left, which is definitely stretching out both sides to make sure we're nice and warm. After that, we will go into a right leg back, making sure our Achilles and heels are stretched out. We want to try to prevent as much injuries as possible and make the guys be able to fly around and move according to what the coaches want them to move at a fast tempo with no hindrance of any kind of injuries. We also, so stretching the Achilles is very key, making sure we're getting them Achilles heels stretched out and guys feeling good and ready to practice. After stretching our Achilles heels, we would go into an arm rotation motion where we're rotating our arms forward and also rotating them backwards, making sure we're loosening up our upper shoulder girdles and all on our arms. After the rotator forward, backwards, and chain breakers. We would go into a neck exercise where we were warming up our necks prior to putting on our helmet. So we'll actually warm up our neck and then put our helmet on. This will conclude our static stretch warm up at the University of Miami.